Welcome to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. This show is about Plymouth County real estate. We're going to be sharing the numbers of recordings for March. This show is taped in April, but we're going to have a great guest on the show in the second segment, Elvira Caldeira, HUD-certified housing counselor from NeighborWorks, talking about some great programs. And then in the third segment, we're going to get into some of our great Plymouth County and Plymouth Colony history. So let's go right to the numbers. For sales of property, the deeds for the month, there are 805 deeds recorded in March, more than the 568 recorded in February, 14% higher than last year. There were 706 deeds recorded in March of 2020. You're now going to see an image of the number of sales for the month. From Abington to Whitman, all 27 communities. Plymouth and Brockton are the highest numbers, but every community had sales of property. Next, you're going to see what really has been driving our numbers as of late, and it's mortgages. There were 4,180 mortgages recorded in March, more than the 3,155 in February, up 77% higher than last March. Clearly, people are taking advantage of low interest rates still to refinance their mortgages. People are saving either the number of years that they're paying their mortgage or they're paying their monthly payment. Either way, it's to the benefit of homeowners. We've always followed foreclosure issues, particularly since the meltdown in 2008. Foreclosures are way down. Only 5 foreclosures in March. There's a foreclosure moratorium currently because of the COVID restrictions, slightly more than, or less rather, than the 7 in February, 82% lower than last year. The other document we follow are foreclosure notices. They're also very low, though we saw a little uptick this month, up to 18 for March. Again, more than the February numbers, number 11. They're still 65% less than last March and 80% less year to date. A lot of recordings over the internet, particularly with the COVID restrictions. We record 80% of our recorded land and 50% of our land court documents over the internet. We have 3 drop boxes in Plymouth, Brockton, and Rockland. And if people are trying to record a document, we'll get you on record. Beware of some scams that are out there. If something doesn't look like it is something to be aware of, just don't bite on it. A lot of companies are now trying to get you to pay a lot of money to get copies of your documents. You can go right to our website and get a copy of your deed for $1 a page. So in the next segment of the show, again, I have Elvira Caldeira, a HUD-certified housing counselor for NeighborWorks of Southern Mass, discussing some of the programs for first-time homebuyers. So we'll see you in the next segment. Welcome back to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. And this show has always been something educational in nature. Our first segment, we talk about the numbers. Our third segment, we'll talk about some of our great county and colony history. But I always have people on the show, from surveyors to appraisers to many real estate brokers, closing attorneys, everyone involved in the real estate business. And I have a great repeat guest who's been here more than once, yes. Elvira Caldeira.
Yes.
Elvira is a HUD-certified counselor for NeighborWorks of Southern Mass. Welcome back, Elvira.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, John.
So can you tell our viewers a little bit of your background and how you came into this job that you're doing now?
Sure. I started off as a CRA loan officer with a bank, and from there I've got my experience with working with first-time home buyer in the lending industry. So I was able to learn a lot and what it entails to get a client pre-qualified, pre-approved. And so there were some changes within the bank. So I was able to get into this opportunity to work with NeighborWorks, which was great because I got to use some of my background, and this time I'm educating clients and getting them prepared to be pre-approved.
And I always like to get in the fact that you're multilingual.
Yes.
And the languages are?
Portuguese, Cape Verdean Creole, and Spanish.
Great. That's great.
Thanks.
So let's talk a little bit about NeighborWorks Southern Mass. It's an organization that I just joined up with another South Shore organization and has expanded your geography.
It has, and we actually also changed our name, so we're NeighborWorks Housing Solutions now.
Okay, sorry.
With the merger, we so that we can be uniform. So it was great. I think it helped us be more broader in the areas that we cover. Some of the like newer areas that we can cover as well. We were able to add additional services that we can offer to clients. It's been a great partnership. And merging was a really great opportunity. We also now also have a couple of new offices. We had our main office, which was in Quincy, and we have now Kingston, Brockton, and Taunton recently, and New Bedford.
Good. So I wanted to get you on the show because of your connections with first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers are really struggling now.
Yes.
There's no inventory, literally no inventory.
Right.
And the average sale prices have been going up. Multiple people have to outbid each other just to get an offer in on a house.
Yeah.
And or at least a purchase and sales agreement, an offer accepted on a house. So why don't we talk about what you people do to help out first-time home buyers?
Yeah, so we do the education. So we educate them throughout the process. So the first step is getting pre-approved and what they need to do to get pre-approved. But before that, actually, I should say we do a counseling session with them one-on-one before they are ready to meet with the lender. So we can kind of see where they are if they're ready to meet with the lender. And then in our classes, we cover mortgages, real estate, attorney, insurance, any part of the transaction that they need to know, we cover it for them. We also do some great budgeting exercises we do an affordability worksheet that kind of helps them see how a lender qualifies them for the amount that they're pre-approved for. And we also try to educate them to, although there is a lot of very low inventory and there's a lot of bidding wars, but we want them to be cognizant of the fact that they need to make sure that they're within their budget. And that's the most important part, because we don't want them to get into a home that's too expensive and they can't afford it should anything happen to them. So that's the most important part that we try to educate them. But of course, we want them to get a home. So we try to help them to just navigate through that whole process. And of course, having a good team of people helping them will help them navigate and be able to win a bid as well.
Yeah, the big issue since the crisis in 2008 has been sustainable home ownership,
That's
particularly
correct.
for first-time
Yes.
home buyers.
Yeah, work here in Brockton was started off during the foreclosure. We did a lot of foreclosure work, and luckily we've surpassed that time, but we still see clients that are in trouble or need our assistance. But for the most part, being an educated buyer will help you sustain your home for sure.
So how many sessions are the first-time home buyer training sessions?
So we do them in 2 sessions right now, and due to COVID, we're doing them virtually. So they do the first session online, And then once they complete that session, they are invited to a Zoom meeting with us. And we still try to keep the presenters to present and talk to them about local programs. And then once they complete the Zoom, then they get a one-on-one phone call with one of our counselors.
And what are the costs of those programs?
So we have our, the hybrid model that we offer is $45 for
Right.
participants to.
Very worth it.
Yes, very much so.
And how have the sessions been going? How many have you done, and how many people do you usually get?
Sure. We've educated a lot of clients. During this pandemic, people were home. They're thinking about what they can do to help advance themselves, and so a lot of people took advantage of that and took the class. So we had a great number of educated clients. Purchases, of course, hasn't been the same as before because, as you mentioned, the housing stock is very low and a lot of competitiveness around. But for the most part, we've been in line with our educated numbers, and people, still look to us to help get them into that first step of homeownership.
So I know that training is important because you do, before you even go to a piece of property, now before you even talk to many realtors, they want a pre-approval letter?
That's correct. And we tell the clients that they should be pre-approved before they start looking for homes, only because, they may be looking for their ideal home and it may not be in their price range. And then when they do get the pre-approved, and if it's lower than the ideal home that they're looking for, it can discourage them a little bit. So if they start off knowing what their budget is and looking for homes in that budget price, then it's easier for them to be able to find something that they like.
So I know you're also involved in the lead paint program?
Yes, we offer lending through the Mass Housing Get the Lead Out loan program. So it's a 0% deferred loan that they can get to de-lead their home. And they can use this, and it's single family and multifamilies can use it. If it's owner occupied, it's the 0%. We also offer this for investors as well. Those do come with an interest bearing and a term loan, but it's still pretty reasonable than what a lender would give them. And then we also offer a home modification loan program as well, which helps clients with modifying their home if they have the disability, they need a ramp, they need to open up their shower to be easily accessible. We help with that.
So for many people, the goal of the lead paint program is to get certified, is that correct?
Yes, so it's once when they apply for the loan with us, they get the inspection, the contractor will de-lead the home. Before the final payment is cut to the contractor, they must pass or receive a compliance letter, which that is valid for the duration of the home. So it's also a good way for people if they're great resale value as well, or also it's a program that could help people if they're looking for homes and if that's one of their factors that they need and their home has lead, they know they can access these funds right away to be able to make it safe for their family.
So many of the older homes do have lead paint.
Yes.
So what is the typical cost of a leading for a three-family, for example?
So I've seen them go as high as like $40,000.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on the amount of lead that
Right.
there is.
Right.
Also, sometimes if they decide to replace all the windows, which is where a lot of the leads are found, then those usually will cost a lot more. But it all varies. It definitely, I've seen less than that, and I've seen a little bit more that we have to, get waivers for. We work a lot with the BRA program here in Brockton, where we can provide gap funding for their program, which has worked really well. So again, for those older homes that have a really high price to de-lead, we can help with the gap funding with the city.
One of the biggest barriers to first-time home buyers is the down payment. So I know you Have your organizations been involved in down payment assistance over the years?
Yes. So currently we administer two programs, two down payment assistance program. We do it for the city of Brockton. And we also offer the South Shore Consortium, which covers Quincy, Holbrook, Weymouth, and Braintree. But we are aware of all other programs that are available, and we have their contact information. So if someone is interested in a particular area, we can let them know if there are funds available, and we can direct them to those programs, especially if it's not one that we administer. But there are those programs still available. There's also good programs through the mass housing, the workforce housing down payment assistance that they're offering right now, which is great. So if they qualify, their lender can get them into that. Also, there's the Equity Builder, also down payment assistance, which is a group of lenders who are approved lenders can offer this down payment as well.
So before I get into the second part, Angelo Newby from Mass Housing has been a guest on the show fairly recently, within a few months. I know Mass Housing has some great programs, and I know your organization has been a great partner with them.
Yes, they have been. They've been a great partner. We work a lot with Angelo. He's presented at our workshops, and he's definitely one that will always let us know what's available and what's out there for participants to apply for and take advantage of, yes.
Great. And what is that equity partnership you mentioned?
Equity Builder, it's from the Federal Home Loan Bank.
Okay.
And it's a group of lenders who are approved to offer these funds, and they do them in a session or in groups. I forgot the specific term that they use, but they have a certain amount of money they put out in different sessions where these lenders who are approved, can have their buyers apply for or reserve the money if they already have a house under contract, mostly under PNS, Purchase and Sales Agreement.
So one of my things coming up in my next segment, my third segment, is a record from the Plymouth Colony in 1623 when they moved from common ownership to private ownership. And that really has led to private property rights and the ability for people to increase their ownership and equity. But when you pay off a mortgage, you're gradually getting more and more equity all the time. It's a great wealth builder.
Right. Yes, and that's what we tell clients, that home ownership is a great investment. Again, it's one of the things that they'll always get something in return. When they sell, they'll get some equity that they've accrued on their home. They're paying down the mortgage, so it's great. We also offer a program called the 40B program, which is homes that are being sold. Developers can make a number of those units affordable. Those do have limits on the equity that a client could, potentially make. However, it's a good way for them to be able to still get into a home if their pre-approval amount is really low as well.
Any other programs you want to highlight?
We're also doing, right now, we're really busy with our RAFT program, which is the Rental Assistance Program. We do still have funds, and people can still apply for these assistance for rental that they've been behind on. We've made it really easy for people to just go onto our website and schedule or apply for these program. And we've gotten a great group of team that can try to turn this the money around as soon as possible, knowing that this is very time sensitive, but it's one of those resources that is available. And we also have counselors or program reps who are bilingual who can help clients who need to get these services that may not speak English.
And with the RAFT program, it goes to the owner of the property?
Yes. So what they'll do is they would apply for the amount that they're behind on their rent, and also their landlord will also be involved with giving us the copy of the lease and the rent roll of how much they're behind. And of course, if they meet the criteria, yes, they would be approved and the check will be cut directly to the landlord.
Yeah, it's certainly been a tough year for everybody.
It has been, and we saw a lot of clients. We've moved a lot of clients into these programs will help them stay in their home and not lose their apartments and still be able to maintain it. In some session, they can also do rental stipends as well. So it's really good program. So if anyone is in need of rental assistance, we can definitely help them.
So can you share your contact information?
Sure. So it's Elvira Caldeira, and my direct line is 617-770-2227, extension 134. And my email is ecaldera@nhsmass.org.
So tell us about your Kingston office. I know my connections are normally with the Brockton office.
Yes.
Right downtown.
Mm-hmm. So our Kingston office was the housing solution office. So when we merged, now we have employees in all the areas in either one of those offices. And Taunton is our newer office that we just opened this month, that we're able to service a lot of the Taunton residents as well.
Well, I know during the housing crisis, coming out of the big lending boom in 2003 and 4, which we're going through right now, there became a housing crisis, and NeighborWorks was the organization we all turned to for help in modifications and guiding people through it.
Yes.
Number of housing conferences that we did with hundreds of people that came in at the time.
Right.
So I certainly don't hope we get into that. We're currently in a foreclosure moratorium. But I know if and when it happens, it's great to see you're set up, trained, and prepared for those situations.
We are, and we still, all of our counselors are HUD certified as well. A couple of them still are in the process of being certified, but most of us are certified, and we are ready. We've been, being prepared if we do need to jump on and get help. We did, just like we did for the raft.
So we have a little time. How about your contact information once more in all the languages you mentioned?
Sure. So, meu nome é Elvira Caldeira e meu número é 617-770-227, extensão 134. E meu nome é Elvira Caldeira. Se nós me se contactar, meu número é 617-770-2227, extensão 134. Mi nombre es Elvira Caldeira y si tú necesitas ayuda en español, puedes llamarlo a 617-222, extensión 134.
I'm surprised you didn't go to the State Department. But thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You always do a great
Appreciate
job.
it. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the Register's Report. Again, my name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds for Plymouth County. I want to thank Elvira Caldeira for the great job she did on behalf of NeighborWorks to describe home buying training programs, first-time home buyer opportunities, and lead paint programs that are very important to people that have older homes. So this segment's a little more about our history. First of all, the holidays for the month. April was on the 4th, National Beer Day the 7th, Jackie Robinson Day the 15th. Patriots Day is upcoming from the timing of this show on the 19th. Earth Day on the 22nd. Arbor Day and Bird Day on the 30th. So we're going to talk about some of our notable land records that relate to the holiday, and then one of our colony records that relate to home ownership. So the first image you're going to see is of Herbert Warren Wind. We just recently went through the Masters golf tournament. It is finally back on track after a year off in April. It is one of the most beautiful golf courses in America, Augusta National Golf Course. But Herbert Warren Wind was a Brockton person who became a golf writer, and he became among the world's most famous golf writers. He played at Thorny Lee as he grew up. He was the son of a shoe executive in Brockton, and he became a golf writer and is the only golf writer to win the United States Golf Association highest honor, the Bob Jones Award. But what he is well known for, and anyone that watches the Masters are aware of the part of the course known as Amen Corner. And Herbert Warren Wind named that when he followed the 11th, 12th, and 13th hole, following Arnold Palmer around when he was writing for Sports Illustrated. He played those holes so miraculously in his 1958 Masters victory. It was his first major championship, and the name Amen Corner came from a jazz record at the time, shouting at Amen Corner. The next notable record you're going to see is also related to one of our holidays. Deborah Sampson grew up in the town of Plimpton. She was a soldier in the American Revolution. Thus the celebration of Patriots' Day. She enlisted in the Army, dressed up as a man, so they would allow her in. She entered the 4th Massachusetts Regiment under the name of Robert Shirtliff, and she was involved very deeply, got wounded a number of times, and she served under George Washington and was later honorably discharged. The next notable record is also something related to our holidays, Earth Day. This is Silent Spring. It was a book written by a woman by the name of Rachel Carson. It's the foundation for the environmental movement, the foundation of the Environmental Protection Agency, and it was all about a part of Duxbury where birds were dying from the spraying of DDT. This book, Silent Spring, was controversial at the time, but again, that book and Rachel Carson is credited with today's climate change and, again, the foundation of the Environmental Protection Agency. And last but not least, one of our Plymouth Colony records. In 1623, Plymouth colonists decided to go from a communal system to private property ownership because they were not getting a lot of production. It was known in 1623 as the starving times, and it basically increased the amount of corn production at the time and led to private property ownership, which realtors, builders, home inspections, all of that marketplace has followed through with. I want to thank Lorna Green Baker, Christine Richards from our office in putting this show together, Emma Reardon from Brockton Cable Access produced and ran the cameras today for this show. The show is taped and shared with cable access providers throughout Plymouth County. So I hope you have a great spring and a happy Patriots Day, and we'll see you next month.